So in this C++ video, we are going to be talking about two new data structures, which is stacks and queues. So stacks and queues are two very useful data structures in C++. And before we actually get started here, we have to include stack, and then we have to include queue. Alright, so now that we've included stack and queue, C++ will recognize it when we start initializing our queues in our stacks. So I'm going to start with queues, because queues really build those concepts that you need to understand stacks. So a queue, to initialize a queue, you would do queue, the data type, which is integer. I'm going to do an integer queue, and then the name, which we'll name x. So there we have a queue, but nothing is inside of it. So to add something to a queue, it's somewhat similar to vectors. It's queue.push and then the value. So I'm gonna add a 5 to the queue and a semicolon at the end. Now I want to add another value. I'm gonna do x.push 4, and now our queue has some values in it. Now, so basically what the queue does is when you start off with the queue goes from front to back. So if I go ahead and do cout x dot back, and x dot back gives me the back of the queue, which is, if you imagine you have a line and you have the back of the line. So if I run to get my output, we have 4, since the queue goes from front to back, or front to back. So the 4, which is the value that we put in after the 5, is 1 below the frontmost object. And to get the front, we would just do cout x.front and then end. And if we go ahead and run this program, we should get back 5, which we got back 5. Now, to remove an element from the list, we would do x.pop, or not a list, the queue, to remove something from a queue, which is similar to Python when we remove stuff. So that's x.pop, and now it'll remove something. So now we can see the changes that this has made by doing cout, and we can do x.size, and so the dot size will give you the size of the queue. So now that we've removed one of them, we're going to get back, it should be 1. That should be our output, and that puts 1. So before it was 2, but then we did x.pop, removing an element, which makes it 1. Now, I'm going to do a break line. Alright. So give ourselves some room here, and we're going to move on to stack. So a stack is something like, if you would imagine a stack of objects stacked, so that would be a stack almost. So to initialize a stack, it's pretty similar. Stack, the data type, which I'm going to do int, and the name, which I'm going to do h. So now we have a stack, but again, nothing is in it, so I want to put something in it. h.push, and then the thing we want to store, I'm going to do a 3, and now our stack has a 3. So I'm going to do some more values here. h.push. So now we have 3, 4, and 5 stacked. So if I do cout h.top and then end the line, if I just run this program, Now this will output the topmost. So evidently a stack goes from bottom to top. So a queue goes from front to back, while a stack goes from the bottom to top, since it's stacked. So that's what we get for h dot top. Now h dot top, that's what that's going to give us. Now to get the size, we just do h dot size, and that'll give us the size. And I'm going to do an end L. You should get into the habit of always doing the end L part, because it just makes it a lot more efficient. So if we run the program, we can see it's just 3 because we have 3 values in our stack. Now we can do h.pop remove an element, which removes an element similar to a queue. So now we can just do cout h.size and see the effect that it has. So if I run the program, it should have a change, because we went from 3 to 2. Alright, so that's stacks and queues in C++. Hopefully this video was helpful, and yeah.